Okay. We have a tournament game, the heaviest hitting tournament on the planet. Academy Premier League is now here. And we got two dumb heavy hitters today. We got Maverick shooters representing the team I do not know. Ike, we need the teams. And the same with Coach Griffin or Coach Jones 6'5". Where did the Griffin come from? But yeah, so Mav, a little bit of background. Mav is someone that I'm proud to see evolve. Right, initially, I'd say maybe 8 months ago, Mav had returned. He's always been a long-time Academy member. Returned to the server. And he was like, this was before the release of the new games. He's at Kit 1800 just through trial and error and getting accustomed to the metagame. However, he hadn't really gained any confidence in himself, and so he came back with a goal of not even expecting to hit 1800, then happened to hit it, and he's like, oh man, what if I can hit 1900? And this is where our conversations began, because he'd messaged me in the Just for Jam channel, which is where people can say something to me directly if they want something or want to ask me whatever, right? And so we did that. Long story short, Mav, just through me saying the principle of keep playing, right? Meaning, not because you win, that doesn't mean that, not because you broke a peak or not because you're doing better than you've ever done means you should stop playing. Because oftentimes people go, oh, well, shoot, I hit my peak, let me chill for the day. And then they start playing less games and less games when they should be doubling down. And so I had him do that. I said, listen, when you break your peak, I want you to play at least one more game right after that, which is the most nerve-wracking part because you get attached to your results. And so you don't want to lose it. You're now the new peak. You want to take a screenshot and play another game. And so I've had a lot of my trainees throughout the years apply this principle, and they always go way beyond. And once you go way beyond, you're like, holy crap, you mean to tell me I had all this potential in me all along? And guess how much potential he had? He went from not even sure if he could break 1900 to within, I think, a week, jumping 300 points. So he almost hit number one. He got to I think 2100 or something. Storm Zone was number one at the time. So in any other meta, he'd probably be number one on the ladder. And that whole time, like a few days ago or maybe a week before that, he wasn't sure if he could hit 1900. And just from playing consistently, he managed to get to 2100. So that whole time he had 2100 level potential, but was too attached to his points to really even do anything. So I share that story because many of you guys currently, whether it be Pokemon or otherwise, right, it's like, I'm doing good, I don't want to make that next push because I might lose, and it will infect and affect your self-image. And so I encourage you guys to push that limit, because I guarantee there's no downside. Coach Jones, the 6, he's been a player for a while. I don't know him super well, or at all, I don't think. But solid player. Both of these players have hit 2000 several times, or number one potentially, I don't know. So in for a good show. As far as the teams, now we got the manga background story. I don't know. If I had to quickly scan, Mav's team is very interesting. I've never seen anything quite like it. Valiant and GALLADE on the same team, Rare Scarlet, and the Zoroark combo. So it's just two all over the place that I have no idea. I'm going to go into this and just play, or just take it a turn by turn. But if I had to do a quick assessment, Coach Jones' team does not guard well against that Zoroark for sure, because it obviously walls Ghost, and Clodsire is the only thing. It doesn't guard super, like the Tricksters. It doesn't guard well against GALLADE, but the Valiant and Zoroark may be using Trick, which could really mess his Clodsire up, which might even be Water Absorb anyway, because his team doesn't deal with water very well. So it's likely not even unaware, which doesn't help his case versus potential setup Valiant or potential setup Zoroark. So that's the immediate things. GALLADE, potential Valiant if it's setup booster, and Zoroark. As far as versus Mav, Funnily enough, that pawn offensively low key is an issue. Not the biggest, but in the right context, it could be. Revival Blessing could be an issue, particularly. Let's say depending on what the Tusk is, because Tusk ground move bodies him except Dragonite, and Dragonite shouldn't be able to do too much. But I'm expecting weirdness from from Dragonite. I doubt it's just a standard set. So that being said, I'd assume Mav, if he wants to guard against the thing that he guards least against, would be leading with a Sash Miascarada, I assume, or some kind of trickery with the Zoroark, because Coach is likely going to lead Dragapult and then Scout, or he's going to lead with Corviknight because it guards well against the majority of his team, then Scout out the Flamethrower. So let's see if it's Corviknight, Miascarada. I really do this, guys. I really do this. I just read both players' minds because they're competent. I really do this. But, you know, me gassing myself up aside, Coach is going to Scout here to see if it's Zoroark. Oh, he doesn't. Interesting. Well, if he's playing Mav, so it's like, okay. That's a risky play. But at the same time, I guess he weighed the pros and the cons. He's like, if this is Zoroark, because they're probably going to U-turn, the taking the hit, if I get it wrong and it isn't Zoroark, he's in a bind. I agree, because this is the only thing he has on the team that deals with Miascarada. So, in hindsight, I just realized how offensively problematic Miascarada is for him. So, Mav spikes. Mav always does this. Leads and Sash and spikes. I don't know if his sets, so I don't know if there's a particular game plan with it, or it's just like lead spikes, figure out the next turn. I hope it's not the latter. So we're gonna see, as he obviously has to go to his fastest. He went to something that he could have went Palmot to Mach, but that leaves him open to being switched upon because he knows he has to Mach. Whereas Dragapult can just U-turn here unless he's packing Sucker Punch, right? So Dragapult confirmed U-turn. U-turn confirmed! As D-Knight comes out. This is Zoroark 100%. Oh, it's not Zoroark. So once again, he's like, okay, I'm gonna Scout. As he Dragon Dances, and I said this likely has some weird shit. So the Tusk has some weird shit too. This could be Hurricane Dragonite. I wouldn't put it past Mav, or it could be Terra Flying, because he DD'd immediately, which implies that he's confident he's faster than Polt, and he's confident he can take on the Corviknight. So let's see what this has in store. I wouldn't be shocked to see Ice Spinner, and I wouldn't be shocked to see Terra Flying. So the Earthquakes, Bulk Up. Okay. So it looks like it's generic D-Knight. Interesting. It must be Fire Punch, because this doesn't make a lot of sense. The DD there. But at the same time, he might. Because I'm trying to think if Bandit EQ would kill Polt, because he DD'd. Or maybe he's like, okay, well, I'll just commit to I don't know. If it's, let's say it's Fire Punch, and he commits to Dragon Dancing, and he goes Polt. Polt could be Will-O-Wisp. There are a lot of things that would just completely invalidate the Dragonite. So you don't want to waste the value turn per turn, right? Especially if it's like of all the options you could have done. So I'm guessing he expected him to be Zoroark and Scout, because the Corviknight is pretty important. Because if it was Zoroark and he got bodied by a Flamethrower, that Dragonite is a problem. So I guess he's like, okay, well, push on to shove out Revival Blessing. So Encore, okay. I was like, I knew something was up. I just didn't know what the thing was. That makes a lot of sense. So Corviknight, so it's like probably just regular core. So this might be Iron Defense. Let's see. It's Brave Bird U-turn. Okay then, so the D-Knight's gonna lose 1v1 because that's not doing anything. Which is why I'm like, why did Mav? That's a complete waste of a Dragonite there. Complete waste. Poorly used. Poorly used Mav. Unless there's something that I'm missing here. The value exchange of the Corviknight losing, what, 38%? Well, it's gonna take recoil, so 55%. And I guess Great Tusk taking some damage, but you knew Corvi was gonna be the main thing the moment you showed Encore, right? And so if you had no solution to the Corviknight, my thing is that you don't know data on the Goldengo, meaning your Gambit can't sweep because it can get tricked. You don't have any data on the Corviknight set at that time, so it could be body press. It's confirmed probably not to be at this point. I mean, it could be not defog, it could be just 3 attacks, but And he has a mock punch potential pawn out and has revival blessings. So as I'm looking at his team, there are opportunities where he could have leveraged the Zoroark better, and the GALLADE better. Is he dead? Okay. What was the GALLADE? Life Orb. That was likely a roll and all. It's very confusing what the Zoroark is. Maybe the Zoroark does not have Fire Stab. Fire move. But even then, the exchange would have been better because Zoroark wouldn't go down. And I don't know what kind of GALLADE it was. If it was Agility, that would have been good. Agility GALLADE ravaged the opponent. So perhaps there's some. So this is Zoroark, I assume. So the Zoroark was the Valiant. Does he just shadow balls? So now he's gonna nasty plot, I assume, or go hard Valiant, and then surprised he didn't go Gambit because it's booster Valiant. It's likely packing Psyshock, Zen Headbutt. So it's probably Terra Psychic then, because Zen Headbutt is odd there. Fire Punch, very interesting stuff. Fire Punch, Zen Headbutt. I mean, from a coverage standpoint, I understand. It's clearly Swords Dance. So we'll see. I mean, it's like he could get Shadow Ball swept if it's Scarf Zoro, but at the same time, the Palmot and the we'll see. Because he Tusk. If this is Terra Flying, then Tusk obviously set up fodder. Let's see. And he goes back to Dengo. Yeah, it's Terra Flying. Say he's gonna Trick Scarf. Oh, it's not Trick. Okay. Very interesting. Sucker Punch. Okay. Problem is that the Palmot could have Mock, or it could Revival Blessing here. Like, looking at even how problematic, if you're Terra Flying Gambit, the tools that he used in the beginning could have been used way better. Right? Like, way better. Like, there are a million things. Like, the Dragonite was completely wasted. Especially if he's Banded Pole, which you could have known, but, well, what did he U-turn on? He couldn't have known based on the skill of Masquerada. So he mocks. Okay, Katal. Good Katal there, because if you Revival Blessings, you're done in this town. If you Revival Blessings at Corviknight. And so now he's in a bind because he has to Sucker Punch here, most likely. Or, he gets the prediction correct in Ironheads, which means Zoroark. So Mav pulls it back. Very, 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 very odd game. This is not what I was expecting from this game. Because in the end, he has to make a lot of predictions where at that point, if he just played the tools he had properly, it wouldn't have been necessary. So I'm guessing it's Scarf Zoro. I mean, I don't know what it could be. Nasty Plot as well. He's just like, well, I don't want to waste the time. Especially if he was that variant of Valiant. The Valiant, because sequence matters, right? Let's say, okay, well, you're that Valiant, right? The moment you get the damage, instead of changing this, like instead of going with, and Masquerada, for that spike, he could have gotten the spike up on other things. It didn't need to be sack my Masquerada just to get one spike up, right? So there were just a lot of different things. Now, if there's something I'm missing as far as the data, maybe there's some sets on there that prompted, because we didn't see everything, right? Terra Flying Gambit's not uncommon. You know, the Valiant was uncommon. It's a strange set. But that particular Valiant could have bodied Coach if he played it on the earlier end of the game. Because if you think about it, let's say that since he was Fire Punch, the moment you see Booster, you know the opponent assumes Special will likely, it could likely go hard Gold and go on the Swords Dance, or go hard Corviknight, either way. And then at that point you go, boom, Fire Punch into the Corviknight at +2. The Corviknight either Brave Birds you. With the Rocky Helmet, you definitely died to Brave Bird. But at that point, the Corviknight's at like 10% maybe. And so now that opens up Dragonite, that opens up Miascarada, right? It's just about finding that proper positioning. So playing the game with a different sequence would have made a big difference. As far as Coach Jones, since he was banned Polt, I mean, it does make things hard because he does have a Fairy type and a King's Gambit. It depends on what the Corviknight set was. I think Corviknight could have been. It depends. It depends because he'd easily have won this game had he just gone for the electric move on the like he won the 50-50s basically. If he won for the electric move, he won. If he went, so it came down to the 50-50s. But I'm thinking, what could he have done to avoid it even coming to that? I don't know enough about his Claude. I don't know enough about his Corviknight. Don't know enough about his Goldengo. We really don't have any data on this team other than the Polt and the Tusk. We can assume the Tusk set and the Polt set. But yeah, let me know in the comment section down below what you thought. This was actually a fun game to review and watch. And I'll keep doing these. So this is the battle of the week for the Academy tournament. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.